How long are the episodes again? Was it 23 minutes?
23 minutes per episode. I think we're nearing the end of episode 3 of the session.
Right, I never fought this old trainer. I was gonna go to the power planet, and I ran into a trainer. I'm like, what? How? I can't have dodged her before. Then I remembered, I never went to Route 10 at all, because I didn't need to.
Oh, the required trainer up there, that's right.
Yeah, there's a couple required trainers on Route 10 that I never fought because of the randomizer. I got like fresh water or something, could skip this whole area.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I skipped the SSN for like 6 gyms or something.
Yeah, you wanted to see how much you can get done without going to the SSN. I tried to catch up to you at the same time, but I was quickly outclassed.
Yeah, it's because I got the fucking Abra. I forget, did I get an Abra? No, I caught a Kadabra, didn't I?
No, you had it as an Abra. It was your Magikarp.
Okay.
At Mount Moon.
Yes, that's what it was. I got it so early. And did it have Toxic right away? I don't remember.
No.
I don't think so.
No, it started with Confusion, so you just kind of got it through level up.
And leveled very quickly because of Confusion.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, fun fact about, what was it? Volbeat, and I still haven't said the name of its partner Pokemon out loud before. How do I say it?
Illumise.
Illumise?
Illumise.
That is not at all what I would have guessed by reading it.
Yeah,
I would have guessed,
for
like,
years I would have said
Illumise.
Illumise.
I would have said Illumise. I might have to. I might need to like ad-lib a line when I do the voiceover for that and just say
just switch between 3 different pronunciations. You got Illumise, you got Illumise, and Illumise.
I might just say all 3 and then just say it's one of those. You know, deal with it.
Here's the one I'm going to be using. It's very confusing.
You know, there was one video where I talked about how, you know, the pronunciation didn't sound right to me, but I checked the anime, and that's how Ash said it in the anime.
Yeah, and people still called you out for it?
Yeah, I thought that because I was saying it the same way that Ash was saying in the anime, that everyone would be like, okay, well, you know, it sounds stupid, but that's what they said in the anime. Tons of people told me, like, that's not how you say it, the anime was wrong. Man, if the anime is wrong, then what the fuck source is right? Like, come on, that's the voice-acted version.
So, Illumise is actually an anime pronunciation that people are referring to as the correct pronunciation of it.
Okay.
I think there may also be some, like, origins in the name, like, as to why it's pronounced Mise. Illum makes sense, because illuminate. But Mise, you know, it's unclear as to what it means.
But what about... that's the thing, though, is some of the things you'd think are pronounced a certain way because of what it's based off of, but that's not always correct. That's the reason why I don't take that argument to globally mean that. Like, it really does seem arbitrary.
It really is.
I've gotten yelled at for saying Aerodactyl because it is aerial and it is reptile. It's Aerodactyl.
But it is based off the pterodactyl.
Yes. And so there's debate on which one's correct on that. Like, no matter what I say, I've said both, and I've been told I'm wrong on both. And it's
I feel like those who told you were wrong about Aerodactyl were the ones were more in the wrong, because if you look at Aerodactyl's name, it says dactyl, which is beat for beat how pterodactyl is spelled.
How about the evolution of Execute? What do you
Executor.
say? I say Executor. However, I have said Executor. No, I don't know. I changed. No. Maybe I said it like that once. Someone said I was wrong, and in fairness, the way I said it that time is not how I said it growing up. But then again, I know that I didn't say it right growing up. A lot of kids didn't say a lot of Pokemon names right growing up because the anime was inconsistent in Season 1. So, like, I say Rattata. That's just how I always said it when talking to my sister, because we both had the guidance and we were discussing it, and that's how kids on the playground in my school growing up said it, but, like, we're from a small town. So... you know, that's just the regional accent for that word. growing up, I realized most people don't say it that way. Oh, hey,
I always used to say Rattata, but it's a rat, so that doesn't make sense. It's Rattata.
But I don't know. I don't know, man, because some of these things are, it feels so arbitrary. I'm like, it's this thing. It must be pronounced this way. Like, the one I got yelled at the most for was Dukes. D-U-X. And that is the default name of when you trade for a Farfetch'd in Gen 1. And everyone was mad at me for saying Dukes. And they were saying, it's clearly Ducks. It's a duck. To which my response is, D-U-X is a name in Canada. It's a real name. And it's pronounced here Dukes. It's a French word. This is a real name that is actually pronounced Dukes. Now, I could see it also being pronounced Ducks because, like, words get pronounced differently in different languages. I think both are completely valid. However, the argument of it's a duck, it should be called Ducks is invalid because there are so many Pokemon that are clearly one thing and the name has to do with it, but you don't pronounce it the way of the thing it's named after. It's pronounced differently because they didn't want to make it too obvious, you know? Like, Charmander is char, like charred, like from fire, and mander as in salamander. It's a fire salamander. That is meant to be pronounced that way, whereas some aren't.
Charizard, on the other hand, like, you don't put emphasis on the I in Charizard, but it's based off a lizard, so it's not the same sound.
Exactly, like it's not
Charizard.
Not consistent. You don't always pronounce it like the animal or the saying it's based off of, and so is Ducks correct or is Dukes correct?
I think both would be acceptable. Yeah.
And when people say it's a duck, it's clearly supposed to be pronounced Ducks. What about the Tangela named Crinkles? Like, it's not. How about the Nidorina named Terry? Like, those aren't named after. Not all of these things are named after what it is. None of them are named after what it is, except for this one is debatably named after what it is in Gen 1. So, like, like Mr. Mime's name is Marcel. That has nothing to do with what he is.
He's a mime. Mimes are popular in France. Marcel is a French name. There we go. That's the only thing that has to do with the fact of Mr. Mime. It has nothing to do with what he, like, is. He's not gonna be named human.
Exactly, like, so it's literally the only trade Pokemon in Gen 1 where the name could be interpreted as what it is. And so that's why I would say I don't think that argument of it has to be Ducks holds water. I think it could very much be either one. And because it'll never be said out loud, because, you know, if it's a name, there is a correct pronunciation generally. But as a guy with a hard name, I can tell you, I don't give a shit. Anyone who has a hard name, for the most part, is usually not a hard ass about how people pronounce their name because they understand there's different languages and different dialects. Do you get angry at the immigrant who says your name wrong? No, because they come from a place with a different language and they talk differently. That would be such a dick move.
No, I get mad at the people who speak the language and get my name wrong.
Okay, well, yeah, with your name, because I know your name, with yours, I understand why it happens, but it shouldn't fucking happen as much as it happens.
It shouldn't fucking happen.
Yeah, like, not that much. But that's the thing is, like, people, you wouldn't get mad at someone from a foreign nation coming in and saying your name wrong because you understand they come from a different language and dialect background than you. And you understand that they're trying their best and it would be a douche move to get mad at them. Just like how if you came to their country and you said something mildly wrong because of your different intonation, you'd think they're a real dick if they start making fun of you for that. So why is it okay to make fun of the rural Canadian boy trying his best to say these foreign names? I came from a village. You know, I didn't learn how to read an analog clock until I was 16. Like, I come from a village.
Were you the cop or... I'm making a village people joke.
No, I was the one with the headdress. Okay. I was the one that people
the native
say
Canadian, as it were.
Yes, I was the one that may or may not be offensive now. I'm not really sure on that one. I think everybody who's not a native is offended by that. So the people who have no right to be. Also, by the way, the Zapdos is a Mewtwo.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Psychics in my game are called servants.
Oh, that's... I don't know if that makes me uncomfortable or not. There's something not quite right about that.
Yeah.
I got... Why do I have 2 Master Balls? Oh, right, because I reset the game. Right, I forgot.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did I used one? Is this a glitch? No, I'm just gonna Master Ball and catch Mewtwo because I want to see what his
Let's see,
moveset
Mewtwo
is.
has Splash, Scratch, Growl, and Leer.
Fun fact while we're looking at Mewtwo, wow, he's 6'7"? Jesus, that's creepy. Fun fact about Mewtwo here. For any old school Earthbound fans, if you ever played Earthbound 0, aka Mother, it was the original game. Because for anyone who doesn't know the game Earthbound, it's actually the second in a series of 3 games, but it's the only one that can't come out in English, so they just call it Earthbound. So it's Mother, Mother 2, and Mother 3.
And then Earthbound Beginnings got an official translation eventually.
Yeah, when the official translation happened, it was called Earthbound 0 or Earthbound Beginnings, and that is just Mother. The game Mother was before Pokemon, and a lot of the staff that made Mother went on to make Pokemon Red and Blue. A lot of them worked for Game Freak. Mewtwo is based off Giygas. This is generally what Giygas kind of looked like in Mother 1, whereas in Earthbound, it doesn't really have a physical form so much, which is why you might not know the connection. But if you go Google it, if you go Google what Giygas looks like in Mother 1, Earthbound Beginnings, whatever you want to call it, you can understand how they took the idea of this and they're like, hey, we can draw shit better now. Let's kind of redo that idea and make it more visually interesting. It's less of a stick figure that looks creepy in the distance and more of, hey, what would Giygas look like up close? And that seems to be what they went for, you know? And it's a little less creepy, but it's still pretty cool. And Mewtwo has the same cry as something else, doesn't it? Because this sounds familiar. Yes, that's the cry it has. Gen 1 has a lot of shared cries.
Yeah, we've been over this before. I was gonna ask, by the way, kind of an open question. I don't know if you would know this personally, but in Smash Ultimate, classic modes for each of the characters are themed based on the characters' games. And during Mega Man's final battle, it's not against Master Hand and Crazy Hand, it's against Dr. Mario and then Mewtwo, which is a reference to how in Mega Man 2, you fight Dr. Wily, and then he turns into that weird alien thing.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So what I'm thinking is, I don't remember this, in Ness's Smash Ultimate Classic Mode, I don't remember if his final battle is with the hands or if it's with Mewtwo. Because Mewtwo would make sense because it is a representation of Giygas. So I don't know.
No, because Ultimate was the Wii U one?
No, that's the Switch one.
Okay, I never played anything but exhibitions in it, although it's awesome. I do really like it. However, if Mewtwo is the final boss for Ness/Lucas, it's the most appropriate one they could do if they're just doing something, you know, just throw something already in the game in there. That'd be really appropriate because the history.
Is Giygas in Lucas? In Mother 3, rather? Because Lucas's classic mode differs to Ness because he's from Mother 3 and Ness is from Earthbound.
Yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers for Mother 3, because Mother 3 is a very easily spoilable game, and it's one that really shouldn't be spoiled. It's hard to explain. It's a story that is so well written that I actually don't want to spoil it, which is very rare in a video game. I don't give a shit about plot in most video games, but that one actually does such a good job of incorporating the previous games in a way where it could be your first game and still be meaningful, but if you've played the previous ones, like, this is something a lot of people don't know with Earthbound. Earthbound's most people's first. You can play Earthbound having not played the other ones and get so much out of it that you love the game, and many people did. Many people, it's their favorite game and they never played the others. However, if you've beaten the first game, there's a lot more emotion going into the end of the second one because it ties in ways that you wouldn't predict. Same thing with Earthbound to Mother 3, and in some ways Mother 1 to Mother 3. So what I will say is Mewtwo would still be an appropriate battle for Lucas, mostly because of the genre more than anything. Mostly because there isn't a better thing that they could do that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, there are also other special bosses that appeared also during World of Light, and a lot of them did make appearances in the end of classic modes. So, for example, Simon and Richter would fight Dracula, like straight up Dracula.
That's very cool.
And who fights the Rathalos? A couple of characters fight Rathalos. I don't remember who. Then you also have Marks from Kirby Superstar. You have... I feel like there's another Pokemon that you get to fight, but I may be incorrect. Let's see. Dracula, Phase 1 and Phase 2. There's Marks, there's Rathalos, there's the Hands, there's Ganon. There's just straight up Pig Ganon.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So, here's the way I think about it. If Ness's boss is Mewtwo, then Lucas's probably is too. Because I can think of more appropriate bosses for Ness than Mewtwo. And so if Mewtwo is their go-to, then it's probably because they don't have anything better, and so they'd probably do it for both.
Because I know in Brawl... Go on.
Mewtwo doesn't strictly make sense for Ness specifically, because Giygas didn't look like that in Ness's game.
Right.
Giygas...
He looked like that in Earthbound Beginnings.
Yes, because in between games, like by the time of Earthbound, Giygas doesn't have a corporeal form that looks like an alien anymore. That's how he looked in the first game. He didn't look like that from then on. It's very confusing. You'll kind of understand if you get to the end of the game.
He, you can't grasp Giygas' true form.
Yeah, that's the infamous saying about it, is you can't grasp his true form, and I don't want to spoil it why it is like that. However, Mewtwo is modeled after what Giygas was in Mother 1.
Yeah, in Earthbound
He is not
Beginnings.
modeled after... Yeah, whereas Giygas, beyond that game, doesn't look anything like Mewtwo anymore. And so Ness didn't exist in Mother 1.
No,
it's a different
but
protagonist in every
theory,
game.
If Mewtwo is actually the final boss of Ness's classic mode, then in that case, Ness is representing Ninten rather than Ness in that case.
Yeah, Ninten being the hero of the first game. A lot of people consider Earthbound to be basically a remake in that it follows this, all the characters follow the same archetype. Ninten looks almost exactly like Ness, and just a lot of the story beats are very similar.
I can't remember the girl's name from Earthbound Beginnings.
Oh, I never remember the names in Earthbound Beginnings either than Clyde and Teddy.
Yeah, Teddy I remember.
Yeah, a lot of the story beats are similar-ish. Earthbound, in a lot of ways, is kind of just Mother 1 done better. But it is technically not a remake, it is a sequel, because the plots, in a very small but meaningful way, do tie together. In a way where you never need to play the first one if you don't want to, but the ending of the first one does give a lot more perspective to the ending of the second one. So yeah, that's me dancing around not spoiling one of my favorite game series for probably 10 minutes. Mewtwo, by the way, has Blizzard, Supersonic, Poison Gas, and Earthquake.
Blizzard's good.
A few solid moves in there. Poison Gas is inaccurate and not very good in the first place. Supersonic is fine, although I'm obviously more of a Confusion Ray guy, because... come on, it's just more accurate.
Is Supersonic 55 accuracy, or 65? It's something low. Hypnosis is 55, I know that.
I was fairly sure Supersonic is 60 or 65, but I'm not very confident on that. Confuse Ray is 100, which is why it's so much better. Confuse Ray is a fucking run-saver of a move, let me tell you.
And after having read your most recent script, I can validate.
Yes, there's quite a few fights in that, Illumise?
Illumise.
In my Illumise Volbeat run, there's quite a few fights.
Actually, it's Volbeat.
Fuck off. There's quite a few battles where if it wasn't for Confuse Ray, I probably would have to, like, tack on an extra hour to some of those grinds. Confuse Ray is an absolute run-saver move. It's not reliable, but if you just need one little extra thing to get you through a battle, that's the kind of thing where it saves your ass. So, yeah, highly recommend it. How far in are you?
I'm getting up to Giovanni in the 8th gym, but I can stop whenever.
All right, let's stop here then, because I can smell the pot of chili cooking, and my mouth is salivating, and I don't want to sound disgusting on the microphone, and I have
You're just gonna start eating your microphone.
Like, I have nothing to do in the game right now, so we may as well like take a break. Next recording session, I'll have like a Pokemon Yellow run. I'll map like a speed up button to my controller so I can just goof off basically.
Yeah.
And we'll just have the goof off screen and then his trying to beat the game with his badass new Electrode screen.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just cycling between 3 of my more powerful things right now.
Yeah, it worked for me. Cycle between my one bullshit Pokemon.
And then no other ones, because that's not how numbers work.
If you can get a TM for Thunderbolt, you're in fucking business.
Hell yeah.
Unless your rival pulls out a ground Pokemon at the end. That's the one problem.
That's why I'm thankful that my Electrode learned Waterfall on its own.
Yeah, like, Confusion works on every Pokemon in Gen 1. I got lucky on the move there. Thunderbolt doesn't work on everyone in Gen 1, so you do need some backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
So,
anyway,
yeah.
Next time on Pokemans, Pokemon Red and maybe something different.
Maybe some fucking Pokemon Yellow or something. We'll see.
Yeah.